But anyway, more to the point, one thing I find really interesting is they mention that Joe Biden has lost touch with the working class. And considering this is like a union area, I thought it was really interesting because there's that video of Joe Biden in the factory, and that union worker comes up to him and he's like, "You want to take my guns away?" And Joe Biden just insults him.
Yeah.
Do you remember what did he say to him?
That was where he said, "Look fat." Wasn't it?
No, that wasn't the look fat moment.
Okay.
The look fat was when like an older, fatter guy was like, "Joe,"
right.
and then he was like, "Look fat."
Oh,
No.
he called him like a damn liar.
Yes.
I think that's what happened.
That's the one, I think.
Yeah,
Pretty
and
sure.
I was like, "Are you serious? This guy wants to vote for you. He just has a question about your policy, and you're calling him a liar."
Joe Biden tells his own voters not to vote for him.
Yeah, it's
on
really
more than one
something.
occasion. Yeah. So to be fair, I want to show you this, and I want to make this point. This is a website called defendingdemocracytogether.org.
Oh boy.
They say, blah blah blah. They don't like Trump. Donald Trump is impaired. They give all these reasons for why they don't like Trump. I get it. I'm not going to read it. You know why? All of these people are, former Homeland Security, Secretary of State, NSC staff, CIA, NSA.
Ooh.
Trade rep, NSC, a lot of intelligence agency people and former Republicans. And somebody sent me this. I posted what was it? What?
He's a former, so one of these guys is a former senior director for NSC. Okay, I thought it said NBC. I was like,
No,
right,
NSC.
We got news.
Yeah, National Security. What is it?
National Security Council.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I posted the thing about the Iron Range.
Yeah.
And I think this is a huge deal that Democrats are straight up being like, Trump is helping us, and these are union guys. Because we've heard a lot of the same things, especially from people like Sean Parnell. Someone countered by posting this, saying, "Oh yeah, look at these people," and I'm like, "Yeah, you can have them."
Seriously,
I don't want them.
Keep it.
So the swamp is angry at Trump.
Good.
And the union workers in the middle of this country are thanking him. How, is that a hard choice?
No, that's great. I think that's perfect, and I think
know-
it's perfectly indicative of what he's been doing. The swamp doesn't like him, but normal people do.
I don't understand what's happened. How is it the Democratic voter base has become so unhinged and blind to this? So anyway, like I kind of remember the point I was trying to make before when I was talking about Kyle Rittenhouse, is that people seem to think, when I post these things, they're saying things like, the majority of this country doesn't agree with you, and this guy's a terrorist, and everybody wants Trump out, and I'm like, do you read the news, or is it just memes? Because on Facebook, it's dominated every day by Ben Shapiro and Daily Wire and Fox News.
It is memes, and I'm curious if some of the reason that Democrats did not tune into the RNC was because they know that they can just wait until tomorrow morning and they'll just hear exactly what they want to hear from people like Yamish and everybody from PBS, and they'll get everything they want through their own filter of their own little bubble. They don't have to hear anything they don't want to hear. They don't have to actually listen to Donald Trump speak, which
Let 'em.
probably triggers
I mean,
them.
I jokingly have been posting things like Trump landslide.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I post on Facebook is that Benny Johnson clip where you get these C-SPAN callers. 9 minutes. I swear, I'm like, I got to listen to it. It's my job.
It was
And I'm
great.
sitting there. I know. And I'm clapping and laughing.
Yeah.
There's like ladies. It's kind of crazy to hear like just this middle-aged woman being like, the riots are near my house. The Democrats won't talk about it. And I'm imagining just like my hokey old neighbor, like they don't pay attention. They're normies. They mind their own business. And they're scared right now.
Yeah.
And the Democrats praised the protests. Who was it who said that? I think it was, I think I actually have it right here. Yeah. Check it out. The Atlantic. This is how Biden loses. Nothing will harm a campaign like the wishful thinking, fearful hesitation, or sheer complacency that fails to address what voters plainly see.
Oh boy.
I mean, they look at this. Let me just read the paragraph. They say it's no use dismissing their words as partisan talking points in reference to Trump's law and order. They are effective ones backed up by certain facts. Trump will bang this loudly, ugly drum until Election Day. He knows that Kenosha has placed Democrats in a trap. They've embraced the protests and the causes that drive them. The third night of the Democratic convention was consumed with the language and imagery of protest, as if all Americans watching were activists. That's the point. Written here by The Atlantic. This is how Joe Biden loses. The Iron Range, a Democrat stronghold, has 6 cities from the Iron Range, not the entirety of, has endorsed Donald Trump. We also heard the story from CNN a little while ago. They went to like the northern tip, which is probably a similar area, probably in the Iron Range. And they said it's a Democrat stronghold that supports Democrats locally and votes Donald Trump nationally.
Yes.
And they're all proud of it.
Yeah, they don't mind.
So I have to imagine this. Actually, let me give you some context first. Michael Tracy, who is one of the few journalists who actually exists, albeit he's very snarky on Twitter when he talks about, politics, but he actually got in a car and he drove to small towns and he saw the destruction. And he saw many of these people doing what I would call begging, spray painting on their windows like, please don't hurt us, we support Black Lives Matter. He went to towns that no one, that got no coverage, that nobody even probably knew had riots until he went there. Now imagine this. You live in some of these towns. They're Democrat towns. And you turn on the TV and you tune in to the DNC. And what do? They show the protesters. They show them raising their fist. And you think to yourself, aren't those the people that just smashed up my windows that I'm scared of?
Yep.
I'd bet.
Yep. And they're getting spotlight and not you.
And well, it's the Democrats supporting them.
Yeah.
And now it's blowing up in their faces and they know it. And that's why The Atlantic has this article. Check this out. They say on Monday, the day after Blake's shooting, Biden and his vice presidential nominee, Senator Kamala Harris, released statements expressing outrage. The next day, Biden's spokesperson released a statement opposing burning down communities and needless destruction. And on Wednesday, Biden, after speaking with the Blake family, condemned both the initial incident and the subsequent destruction. Burning down communities is not protest, he pleaded in a video. It's needless violence. He said the same after George Floyd's killing. How many Americans have heard him? In the crude terms of a presidential campaign, voters know that the Democrat means it when he denounces police brutality, but less so when he denounces riots. To reach the public and convince it otherwise, Biden has to go beyond boilerplate and make it personal, memorable. I don't buy it.
No?
You know why I don't buy it when he says, whoa, the destruction is bad? Because then the DNC puts up the videos of the guy with the cape. You know, remember, you guys see that thing where actually it's that tweet that I put up.
Billy Porter. You going to try to find it? So it's this guy who was dancing and he was like, it was the cringiest thing I'd ever seen. It really did look like a high school talent
I got
show
it. Here we
type
go.
thing. Oh, look.
This is this image of the protests and this guy with the cape singing this protest song. And this person said, we're going to lose, aren't we? I love this image because it's like, yes, I'd imagine you are. But this protest image, listen, if you've got a bunch of people marching through the streets, raising their fists like he is right here, screaming Black Lives Matter while smashing things, and the Democrats go on TV and with a smile on their face go, peaceful protests. And you're like, they smashed up the bakery by my house.
Yeah.
Or not even that. You know, when they talk about smashing up Starbucks and they talk about smashing up banks, I'm like, did you ever stop to think about what the average person feels or thinks to themselves when they see that? So I was in D.C. on, they call it J20. It was Trump's inauguration in 2017. They smashed up McDonald's and Starbucks and like some banks or whatever. And I was talking to somebody because I tell them this all the time. You ever stop and think about what that, a regular person who shops there is thinking once they walk up?
Can't go there anymore.
They're thinking, why can't I go to Starbucks? I got work. I need coffee.
Why can't I go to my bank? Why can't I deposit my paycheck?
And now I'll one-up that. I said, did you ever stop and think about what the person who worked at Starbucks is thinking after you do that?
No, I can't work.
Why did they do this to me? Mm-hmm. That's what they're thinking. Mm-hmm. Why me? Why me? What about the person working at the bank? I was talking to somebody during Occupy Wall Street, and I'm like, do you know how much that person makes in that small little office? They're probably making like 40 or 50. Well, it's New York, so maybe like 60, 70K. All right. That is not middle class median for New York. They're probably working really, really hard to try and get by because New York City is very expensive. Yeah. I understand in most parts of the country, 70K is probably a lot. But some of these people in these offices probably only getting like 50, if that. And I said, do you know what they're thinking now that you smashed the window and there's glass all over their desk and their computer? They're thinking, what did I do? I don't understand. Yeah. And the people who go to that bank as customers are thinking like, I gotta make deposits today.
Right.
I gotta get a cashier's check to pay for my deposit for my new apartment. Why did they do this to me? Now I gotta go to a different bank. How frustrating is that? And they don't understand why they are being attacked. Now imagine this: you're in a small town. You're like, remember that video from, I think it was like was it Rochester or Syracuse, where the lady gets attacked by the group of those men. You know what I'm talking about? The husband and the lady of the fire department equipment store, and there's like three dudes attacking this.
Yeah.
So imagine that. You're in a small town, you're minding your own business. The news doesn't talk about you. The New York Times doesn't talk about you. CBS, CNN, they don't care about you. You're in a small town and you're being beaten and your wife is being beaten.
Yeah.
And then you're just angry and you're like, someone's got to do something about this. Mayors Democratic mayors nowhere to be found. Governors saying peaceful protest.
Well,
then you turn on the DNC. And what do? They show the people who attacked you.
Yep.
Man, I'd be angry.
I would too. And you know what I would do? I would call C-SPAN.
And
I'd be like, hey, guess what? I'm leaving the Democratic Party. They've moved way far left. I just watched the DNC, and they're full of nonsense, and I don't like it. I'm scared.
I do what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I've talked about this, several times. When the riots hit their peak in June, I heard helicopters and sirens.
I remember that. I heard them too.
We're in the suburbs. I was like, there's no way. No way. Because we're in the suburbs of the Philadelphia area, but we're on the Jersey side. You got to cross the river. And I'm like, we're far away, But no, it was within a few miles. We could see and hear the helicopters and sirens. And I was like, how did they get anywhere near us? That's crazy.
That was an uncomfortable night.
And then I went out and bought guns.
Yes.
Because I was like, what do I do if they show up to my house? Because they've shown up to people's houses. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify. And we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.